Alright, welcome to the fashion conference series. On this episode, we're going to be talking about what to wear for an interview. So as you can see, I'm wearing a very classic, very basic, but very presentable interview outfit. So I'm wearing black slacks with a white top and then a black blazer, and then I combine it with some nude little kitten heels. And it's just a representation of, like, you know, when you think of an interview for a girl, for a woman, what do you think? Well, this is the most basic neutral outfit. And as an engineer, I honestly felt a little bit weird putting heels on because I'm always wearing steel toes, but this is just like the classic. If you're going into an office, if you know you're not going to go into a manufacturing shop, then you can combine it that way. Now, this is just a starting point. Honestly, when I put it on, I felt like some of my personality was lost. So I do have some things to add it and make it more personal, more to you, and more appropriate, also depending on where you're interviewing. So I'll start with shoes. So I have a couple options. So as you can see, and I'm actually gonna take it off so you can see it, I am wearing a low nude heel. So very neutral, doesn't attract a lot of attention. I also have another option, which is this one, which is more of like a sling back, and it's black. Also, I have them in white. So if you do want to wear heels, something like this is very good, very appropriate. However, if you don't want to wear, and let me put the shoe back on. If you don't want to wear something that's heeled, then you can do something like this. A pair of loafers that is very neutral, still very presentable, very office appropriate, and you will be super comfortable. There's no bad way to go about it. Just keep it in a neutral color, nothing too flashy. It does have some gold, but nothing out of its, you know, nothing new, nothing super exciting. The other thing that you can do, because I've been in manufacturing, I've interviewed for a lot of manufacturing roles, and I always want to be prepared. I don't want to be caught up with some loafers or some heels, and then we can't go into a tour because you need steel toes, and then now you're going through like, do they have any? I don't want to go back and get them. So I have this pair for you, which is a pair of steel toe boots, and they have a heel, and you know, they're great, they're perfect because they look presentable. I've worn these a ton of times with a pair of black trousers, and you wouldn't even be able to tell that they are steel toes, and I'm ready for everything. A lot of the times people don't know that I'm wearing them, and I'm like, don't worry, I'm set, I have these. And so I always keep this in my trunk, honestly, so that I can go and put them on if I need to. Especially if you're, I know if like a lot of engineers might be watching this, you might need to be ready for everything. So these are a great addition. Maybe not the best to wear like all day long, but if you're doing something like that, going to a show, going to a conference, going to a site visit where you need to wear business or business casual outfits, but you still need the steel toes, these are great because they totally look like an office outfit. All right, let me jump back into, okay, what else can I do? Alright, so let's say you don't want to wear a blazer. Well, there's another options that you can do that adds more of personality and also gives you a lot more freedom. So let's say, let's start with black. I don't want to wear black. Then you can do something like I like to do. I like to wear a neutral. I like to wear something that is more of beige or white. So I have this beige blazer, and you can either combine this blazer with a pair of black pants, or I actually have a pair of pants that it's not the same brand, it's not supposed to go with it, but the color is very similar, and I just match them together, and instead of wearing a black suit, I wear a beige suit. So you can create that. You can also intermatch so that you have that contrast. I would just say stay to neutral colors. Wear a black, a gray, a beige, white, maybe like a dark burgundy will be okay, a dark green. I will stay away from anything yellow, orange, or like a bright purple or a bright pink. Definitely help you make a statement, but also, you know, you're trying to go in a little bit neutral so there's not a little bias in an interview. There's two more options that I have that are if you don't want to wear this black blazer. So you can keep the same pants I have and wear a jacket like this, which is a little different take of like a top. So it's not a blazer, it's more of a jacket, but it still has that presentable presentation to it where it looks good, it looks corporate. And I have this in all three colors. I have gray, I have the black one, and I have the white one, cream one. This one has been my favorite lately because it's just like with the fall, it looks great. Now the last option of a top that is more of like something over rather than just a regular shirt is that you can combine it with a vest. So I have this black vest, I also have it in white. and you can either wear it on top of a shirt or you can wear it just as a top. It depends how comfortable you are, because this is like pretty much a no sleeve. But it also adds a cool touch, and you can always combine it with any black trousers, or if you're doing white you can do the same thing, or even mix and match. Now let's jump into, I don't want to do blazer or any sort of jacket coat. I just want to wear a shirt. Then I have a couple options for that. So the first option, and this can be either a short sleeve or it can be a 3/4 like this one. It's just a blouse. It could be neutral. It could have a pattern, and then you just wear it. This case scenario, I wouldn't wear it with the black trousers, and I have these white ones. You can wear it like that, and then you still have a neutral outfit, still very presentable, but you're losing the coat. So you're no longer trying to, you know, maybe if you feel like a whole suit will be overdressed, then you can do it that way. The other way is, you know, lose this, change the shirt to a basic button-up shirt. This one is more of like a satiny, silky finish, so I like it, it's a little bit more fancier. But you can also do a regular cotton one, and this one you can also do, I have a light green, no, actually, I have a light blue and a light pink if I want to add that fun to it. And then the last one is something like this, where it's a lot more personality, a lot more fun, a lot going on. The neck is definitely different. You don't have any buttons in the front. You have the 3/4 sleeve, and it also has like a fun little detail on the end. Now with this one, again, if it's something that you like, you can also do a very light color or a neutral. It can also be a dark, but as long as it stays neutral. My favorite of all time, interview shirt, because I rarely go like this for an interview. I usually keep it to just a nice blouse and a black pair of trousers, and it was a combination of both. So it was something like this where you had the buttons, but you had more of like a texture of it, as well as still keeping the regular neck to it. Fortunately, I stained it, so I no longer have it, but it was just my go-to because I knew it was a neutral color. It wasn't too basic, but it wasn't too fun, and I knew I was gonna throw it on and I was gonna be fine. I was gonna look presentable. Fortunately, it's stained now, and I had to look for other options. Now, the last thing I do want to cover is going towards what accessories and what things to take besides from your outfit. So the first thing, your resume, obviously, but find yourself something like this. This is like a fake leather binder, and you can find it anywhere. And so I always have printed copies, and I keep them in here. The other thing is a notebook. If you want to keep it in here, you can do, but if not, if you want to take a notebook, then you hold both of these. Very neutral, very nice. I did have a light pink folder of this that added more personality. I lost that, so now I just went back to my neutral black. Purses. You can keep something very neutral, but I personally have never walked into an interview with a purse. I always leave them in my car, or I just don't bring them. So I say, even though if you really want to do something neutral, something that doesn't have any logos, and you should be fine. But I would say keep this at home. You don't need to. What I do is I take my ID out of my wallet and I just put it in here so that I have it with me in case I need it to identify myself when I go into the interview. And also places do that, so if you know you need to take something, you can always separate it. And then the last thing, which I actually have right here, is my keys. So I mean, I skip over the phone because phone is a classic. You just put it on mute, put it on your pocket, make sure it does not distract you, or leave it in your car. I usually always keep it with me, but it has never been a problem because I make sure it's muted. The other thing is your keys. I remove everything that's extra and I just keep the fob. And for me, it's really easy because it just snaps into it. But I just keep the fob and I just put it in my pocket because it's less bulky. It's not going to make any noise, or they're not going to fall out. So I do have a lot of things hanging from it. And that way you're not attracting attention, you're not getting distracted, and it's way less noticeable than if you wear the entire bulky keys with you. I did wanted to add a note on this because I did not include any skirts or any dresses into interviews, and this is because I'm focusing on engineering specific roles, especially because I've been in the manufacturing sector where those are not very well acceptable when you're going into a production floor. And so I always just play on the safe side. I keep a pair of pants instead of wearing any skirts. If you're interviewing, let's say at our conference where you know you're not going to go into any manufacturing production floor, then you could do skirts. However, I will stay away from pencil skirts with a blazer on because I just feel like they look very antiquated, like very old, like that's what somebody in the 50s would wear. And so I was just gonna keep away from that. There are a couple cute dresses that you can wear for interviews and all these events that are nice. Again, I just like to stay on the safe side. Nobody will ever question you because you are in pants. Maybe if you're in a different role where it's like marketing or sales, where it's a lot more corporate, then you can start integrating those maybe higher heels and more like cute little dresses for it. But again, we're focusing on engineering, and that's why you're only going to see pants and maybe this section of the series. The last thing that I did not include in that video is the jewelry. So usually I keep it very small, so just a small pair of earrings. Usually I do like a pair of pearls. A lot of times no necklace because the type of neck will usually get in the way, and so it's just nothing. And then as far as my hands, I remove all of my rings because I don't want any unconscious bias, unfortunately, that still exists, of like, oh, she's married or she might have kids because she's married. So I just kind of clean my hands, keep it there, keep my hands very neutral. Right now I do have stick-on nails and they just have a small gold detail, but usually I stay with like just clean hands, short nails, and nothing super flashy or distracting unless you're able to constantly upkeep them. But for me, I'm really bad with it, and so if I paint them, it's very likely that I'm gonna have one nail that's missing or chipped. And then something that's just been lately, because it applies to me now, is like I use aligners right now, and so I remove those because I don't want them to get in the way on how I speak or alter it or be distracting, because I do have a like a little thing right here, and so I just remove it and let's just put it back on after we're done. Alright, so I hope all of that preps you to create the best outfit for an interview. Again, these are just recommendations. Feel free to interchange it with things that make you feel like true to yourself, and then what fits to wherever you're interviewing at. And be sure to come back to the next episode of this series.